Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world, with me, Deepika, coming up in the next 1 hour. Jamaica braces for world's strongest storm as brutal winds begin lashing the Caribbean nation as catastrophic Category 5 storm Melissa nears landfall. Thousands evacuated amid warnings of mass destructions. US President Donald Trump and Japanese Prime Minister Takaichi signed framework agreement on rare earth, critical mineral supply. Both the leaders lavish praise on each other. After Trump's 48-hour warning, Hamas returns body of another deceased hostage. Remains of 12 hostages still held in Gaza. Israel lifts state of emergency near Gaza border for the first time since 2023. Tensions simmer between US and Venezuela as US flies B-1B bombers over the Caribbean. Caracas announces immediate suspension of energy agreements with Trinidad and Tobago over hosting of US naval warship. Good morning to all the viewers joining us at this morning broadcast. To begin with the latest, Jamaica braces for the world's strongest storm of the year and possibly the strongest on record for the island, with US meteorologists warning of catastrophic and life-threatening conditions. Category 5 hurricane Melissa is intensifying and expected to make a landfall on Caribbean island later today. We get to details in our next report on warnings and precautions in place.
It is the churning of what many are already describing the world's strongest storm ever. Category 5 Hurricane Melissa. Already, authorities are saying that the destruction would be on an unimaginable scale and it could devastate western and southern Jamaica completely. The warning was extended by Jamaican Prime Minister, who underlined that there is no infrastructure within the region that could withstand such a monster storm, warning of significant dislocation.
In a time of disaster, we must take a zero-fail approach to the systems that we are building. So in as much as I'm talking to the public, I'm also talking to the heads of the institutions that are gathered here. Make greater effort to ensure that there is zero fail in our operations.
Monster Hurricane Melissa is expected to hit western part of Jamaica Tuesday evening around 17:30 Indian Standard Time, before moving across to eastern Cuba and the Bahamas. Weathermen has warned that Melissa's slow pace means it is set to dump torrential rain of as much as 3 feet on affected areas, increasing the risk of deadly flooding and landslides. Experts fear it could cause lengthy power and communications outages, along with extensive infrastructural damage.
The forward speed of Melissa is going to increase and the eye is going to start to move very quickly across the island. And this is going to lead to widespread infrastructure damage, prolonged power outages, communication outages, and isolated communities. So it's going to be a very dangerous post-storm environment.
Many parts of the Caribbean island are already witnessing unprecedented strong winds and heavy rains, necessitating evacuation of over 250,000 people to the shelters. After passing over Jamaica, the storm is forecast to head north and cross over eastern Cuba on Tuesday night, while continuing to bring rains and heavy winds to Haiti and the Dominican Republic. Cuba has evacuated over 500,000 people living in coastal and mountainous areas and cancelled schools and transport across the eastern part. Melissa has already been blamed for at least 4 deaths in Haiti and the Dominican Republic this week, as its outer bands brought heavy rains and landslides. The Dominican Republic's Emergency Operations Center has placed 9 of the 31 provinces on red alert due to a risk of flash floods, rising rivers, and landslides. Hurricane warnings have also been issued for the central and southeastern Bahamas, where authorities have ordered evacuations. However, Hurricane Melissa is not forecast to reach the US mainland. Bureau Report, DD India.
And on the other hand, in India, Cyclone Montha is intensifying over the Bay of Bengal and is expected to make landfall on the coastal regions of Andhra Pradesh and Odisha on Tuesday evening. The Indian Meteorological Department has issued a red alert for Andhra Pradesh and Odisha's coastal region as well. The severe cyclonic storm is forecast to bring maximum sustained winds of 90 to 100 kilometers per hour, gusting up to 110 kilometers per hour. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has assured full central support to Andhra Pradesh and Odisha. The authorities have ordered immediate evacuation of the residents from low-lying and coastal areas to rehabilitation centres, ensuring safe drinking water, quality food, and dedicated officers to oversee the relief operations. Rescue teams are on a high alert and ready for relief and restoration. And in Andhra Pradesh, advanced technology is being used for real-time cyclone alerts through a pilot system broadcasting voice across 26 coastal villages. The 360-degree horn speakers ensure continuous alerts with plans to expand coverage and integrate SMS, IVR and on-ground communication for wider public safety. Meanwhile, the East Coast Railway, as a precaution, has cancelled over 25 trains. Currently, Cyclone Montha is moving north-northwestwards over the Bay of Bengal and is likely to affect Andhra Pradesh, Odisha and the neighbouring regions over the coming number of days. And to get you latest on this, I am joined by DD India correspondent Ravi Shankar from Machilipatnam, Andhra Pradesh. Good morning, Ravi Shankar. Tell us the current status from ground zero that we are tracking for our viewers on Cyclone Montha.
Yeah, Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu is technology and handling the situations like Montha cyclone. Previously also when there is a flood in Vijayawada, he is the first person who used drones for the rehabilitation and rescue activities. If you see Montha cyclone now, it has been becoming strengthened and by today evening I think the landfall will occur in between Kakinada and Machilipatnam. So for this, the state government is taking all the measures and about 1400 plus villages are being affected by this Montha cyclone. And for this, the state government has established 2,200 plus rescue centers in which all the arrangements regarding like food, water, electricity and all were made. And especially the ministers for every district, the concerned in charge minister has been established as in charge. And he is looking after all the things with the support of an IAS officer who is on special duty for the same district. And regarding this transportation, at about 110 trains from South Central Railway as well as East Coast, both are cancelled from Vijayawada as well as Visakhapatnam. And the flights from Vijayawada and Visakhapatnam also cancelled up to tomorrow. And the central government is extending all the support to state government. Prime Minister Narendra Modi called Chandrababu Naidu yesterday. He has given his assurance for all the support, and Chandrababu Naidu with his modern technology and communications, he is operating all these things from real-time monitoring system which is in Amravati.
Also tell us how technology is being used to track down Cyclone Montha.
In this regard, we should consider NDRF and SDRF teams. The modern machinery and modern satellite phones, all these things are supporting the NDRF and SDRF teams, and with them, they are able to make much more efforts to participate and do the rescue operations.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us and getting us the latest straight from Andhra Pradesh. Now, US President Donald Trump and Japan Prime Minister Takaichi on Tuesday signed a framework agreement for securing the supply of critical minerals and rare earths through mining and processing. The countries plan to cooperate through the use of economic policy tools and coordinated investment to accelerate development of diversified, liquid and fair markets for critical minerals and rare earths. Now, Donald Trump praised Takaichi's elevation as the country's first female leader and her pledge to accelerate a military build-up. A similar close relationship with the leader of Japan's key security and trade partner could help Takaichi bolster her political position at home. Now, she in turn also expressed her desire to realize a new golden age of Japan-US alliance with Donald Trump. Trump said that Washington is an ally of the strongest level.
We are an ally at the strongest level, and it's a great honor to be with you, especially so early in what will be, I think, one of the greatest prime ministers.
Donald Trump also met with the families of Japanese abducted by North Korea decades ago and said the US is with them all the way as they ask for help to find their loved ones. Trump is due to deliver a speech on Tuesday on the USS George Washington aircraft carrier docked at the US naval base Yokosuka. He will also have dinner with business leaders, likely including the chairman of car maker Toyota. Now, this comes as Donald Trump, on the second leg of his Asia tour, met with Takaichi. The talks focused on trade and security a week after the hardline conservative became Japan's first female leader and vowed to accelerate a military build-up. Trump arrived in Tokyo on Monday for a visit sandwiched between a trip to Malaysia and a meeting in South Korea with Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping that could ease the bruising trade war between the world's two biggest economies, sparked by sweeping US tariffs. Talking about the car industry, it accounts for around 8% of jobs in Japan. And most Japanese imports into the United States are subject to tariffs of 15%, less painful than the 25% first threatened, but still contributing to a 24% slump in US-bound car exports in September in value terms year on year. And Dibyendu Mondal joins us with more. Good morning, Dibyendu. Why this deal is significant for both the US and Japan?
Well, Deepika, very good morning. Of course, this deal comes at a backdrop of, the negotiations or the trade negotiations that are currently happening with the US and China. Also, President Trump is going to visit South Korea in the coming days, and where he's expected to meet the Chinese Premier Xi Jinping. And, this deal is, extremely important because remember that there is a tariff war that is currently going on between the United States and the rest of the world. And therefore, this brings to a point to say that perhaps maybe Donald Trump is going to work out deals with multiple countries, because the vision that perhaps what Donald Trump was envisioning for his country may not be working out for him. So therefore, this is important and crucial at this juncture, and therefore, this is going to make the two countries bring together more business and more closeness in their relationship.
Also, how does this reflect on Takaichi's leadership, considering China's near monopoly on rare earth minerals?
Well, Deepika, rare earth minerals has been a critical point in terms of, the US and the China tariff war, because China controls, almost 70% of the world's rare earth minerals. And therefore, this deal would perhaps give the United States the much needed the much needed capital on rare earths, because this deal which they have signed with Japan is perhaps going to give the United States the needed rare earth minerals that is required for manufacturing in almost every sector, be it the semiconductor, the EVs, the space missions, and all electronic items that we use in our day-to-day life uses these rare earth minerals. So therefore, this deal is, China has almost said that they are going to bring in stringent measures in curbing export of rare earth minerals, and therefore this will put, as I said, Donald Trump's vision of making America great again and make in America dream falter, because if China does not export these rare earth minerals to the United States or keeps a check on the exports, the manufacturing industry in the United States could take a hit. And therefore, this deal where Japan and the US has agreed on this deal of rare earth minerals. So therefore, this could give the United States, as I said, the much needed push for Donald Trump's vision of making it great again.
All right. Thank you so much, Dibyendu, for joining us and getting us the latest on the Straight Talk and Deal. Now, the first hearing of former Japan Prime Minister Shinzo Abe's murder will begin in a short while from now. The trial opens on the same day as two of Abe's former allies, incumbent Prime Minister Takaichi and visiting US President Donald Trump, held summit talks in Tokyo. 45-year-old Tetsuya Yamagami was arrested at the scene of the shooting in July 2022 after allegedly firing at former Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe with a homemade gun while the former premier was giving a speech during an election campaign in the western Japanese city of Nara. After Tuesday's first court session starting at 500 GMT, 17 more hearings are scheduled by year-end before a verdict comes on the 21st of January. Time to take a short break, but still to come on the other side. US air travel chaos deepens as government shutdown grounds thousands of flights amid controller shortages. Turkey seals $10.7 billion deal for 20 Eurofighter jets in a move to boost air power and strengthen NATO ties. And protest erupts in Cameroon as 92-year-old President Paul Biya declared the winner of the 8th term amid unrest.
Jharkhand will mesmerize you with majestic nature, rich heritage and colorful culture.
Hello. Johar. It fits perfectly.
Thank you.
Full workout ho gaya.
Ready?
Postcards from Jharkhand on National Geographic.
Welcome back after that short break. You're watching DD India News Hour. Now let's get you all the latest from West Asia. Hamas on Monday handed over the remains of another deceased hostage. Hamas faces mounting pressure to return all the bodies promised under the Gaza ceasefire. Now, Israeli forces received a coffin set to contain the 16th of 28 hostages killed in the 7th of October attack back in the year 2023. Israeli officials and families of captives are urging Hamas to speed up the transfers, which have slowed down since the release of 20 living hostages. Hamas says it is committed to the ceasefire and insists it is trying to return all the remaining bodies, 11 Israeli and 2 workers from Thailand and Tanzania, but that the research has been hampered by the destruction wrought on Gaza during the conflict. Now, in recent days, Egypt sent recovery teams and heavy machinery into Gaza with Israeli approval to aid the search, joined by Red Cross workers. Meanwhile, Israel has lifted the state of emergency on Monday for areas near the border with Gaza for the first time since Hamas's October 2023 attack. The state of emergency that was active up to 80 kilometers from Gaza in southern Israel granted the authorities special powers to maintain public order and ensure civilian safety. The same state of emergency was temporarily expanded to the whole of Israel in June 2025 after Israeli strikes on Iran that prompted retaliatory missile launches from the Islamic Republic. Now, tensions escalated on Monday after 2 US B-1B bombers conducted a flight over the Caribbean near Venezuela, which is the third display of military power in recent weeks. According to flight tracking site Flight Radar 24, the bombers departed from a base in North Dakota and flew parallel to Venezuela's coastline before vanishing from the radar. This follows a similar B-1B mission last week and a B-52 flight earlier this month, underscoring Washington's intent to ramp up pressure on President Maduro's government. And Venezuela's Minister of Interior, Justice and Peace, Diosdado Cabello, said on Monday that the authorities had detained 3 individuals allegedly in possession of a CIA operational manual, adding that they tried to erase the data from their phones before being apprehended. Cabello denounced the recent joint military drills between the United States and Trinidad and Tobago near Venezuela's coastal waters, calling them a provocation against the country. He further claimed that forensic examinations of the confiscated phones uncovered links between the CIA and groups opposing the Venezuelan government. Now, over the weekend, Caracas issued a statement condemning what it described as a potential CIA-led false flag plot against Venezuela.
We live in peace in this country. Just leave us alone. It's undoubtedly aggression. These military exercises they are conducting jointly with Trinidad are provocations denounced in the statement you are referring to.
Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro announced on Monday that his country is halting energy cooperation with Trinidad and Tobago, including the ongoing joint natural gas projects. Now, during a televised address, Maduro said the oil ministry and state-owned company, PDVSA, had submitted a proposal to suspend the cooperation agreement, which he approved. The suspension takes effect immediately, he added, noting that Venezuela's Congress and the Supreme Court would be consulted for further guidance. Maduro criticized Trinidad and Tobago's Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Besisar for what he called a pro-US policy stance. Persad-Besisar, who assumed the office on the 1st of May, has maintained close ties with the administration of US President Donald Trump amid rising tensions between Washington and Caracas. Maduro has repeatedly accused the United States of attempting to oust him from power. His remarks came a day after a US warship docked in Trinidad, following Washington's announcement that it would deploy an aircraft carrier group to Latin America.
But in the face of Prime Minister's threat to turn Trinidad and Tobago into the aircraft carrier of the US empire against Venezuela, against South America, there is only one alternative. I have read this report. I have approved the cautionary measure of the immediate suspension of all the effects of the energy agreement and of everything agreed upon in that area. It is a cautionary measure over which I have authority as the president, and I have approved and signed it. Everything is suspended.
Suspendido todo.
Trinidad and Tobago's Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Besisar on Monday rejected Venezuela's threat to end a joint gas project over her government's decision to host a US warship. She declared that she would not yield to what she described as Venezuelan blackmail and emphasized that her government would continue its fight against drug cartels. She further added that Trinidad and Tobago's future had never depended on Venezuela following the docking of the USS Gravely off the island for joint military exercises. Now, Mexico's President Claudia Sheinbaum says the United States has given her country a few more weeks to make trade policy changes and avoid new 30% tariffs set to take effect on Saturday. The White House has asked Mexico to remove what it calls 54 barriers to trade, such as disputes about intellectual property. The US agreed in July to pause for 90 days an increase in tariffs on some Mexican goods to 30% from 25% as the two countries continued talks aimed at reaching a new trade deal. Now, that pause was set to end this week.
I spoke with President Trump and we are going to give it a few more weeks to be able to close the issue that is already very advanced regarding the 54 non-tariff barriers. So we agreed to speak again in a week or so because we are practically already closing the issue because ultimately on November 1st, that deadline closes that we had both set for ourselves of 3 months.
Moving on. Now, Turkey has bought 20 Eurofighter Typhoon jets from the UK for $10.7 billion, strengthening NATO defence ties and boosting its air capabilities. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer met President Tayyip Erdogan in Ankara on Monday to seal the deal. The purchase is part of Turkey's push to match regional rivals like Israel, which has intensified air operations across West Asia this year. Europe has increasingly looked to Turkey, NATO's second largest military and a leading drone exporter, to bolster its eastern defences and support potential post-war stability efforts in Ukraine. Now, Turkey further aims to bridge its air power gap before its domestically built Khan fighters are ready. It also has a pending $7 billion F-16 deal with the United States, which has faced delays. The visit was Starmer's first to Turkey since taking office last year. A 6.1 magnitude earthquake struck the western Turkish town of Sindirki late on Monday, which is the second time in less than 3 months that it has been hit. The quake struck at 10:48 p.m. local time and was also felt in the economic capital of Istanbul and the tourist hotspot of Izmir. The quake was followed by several aftershocks. However, no casualties have been reported so far. At least 3 unoccupied buildings and a 2-story shop collapsed. The structures had already been damaged in a previous earthquake. Well, Turkey is crisscrossed by several geological fault lines that have previously caused catastrophes in the country. Now, US President reiterated during his week-long Asia trip that he would love to serve an unconstitutional third term. But the 22nd Amendment to the US Constitution bars anyone from being elected to the US presidency for a third time. Well, it was passed by the Congress in the year 1947 and ratified by the states on February the 27th in the year 1951. And it says that no person shall be elected to the office of the president more than twice, and no person who has held the office of the president or acted as the president for more than 2 years of a term to which some of other person was elected the president shall be elected to the office of the president more than once. Donald Trump has repeatedly played with the idea of serving beyond the constitutionally mandated 2 terms, joking about it at rallies and teasing the supporters with Trump 2028 hats. Now, 79 years old Donald Trump seemed intent on presenting himself as fit to lead, telling the reporters that he recently underwent MRI that came back perfect.
I would love to do it. I have my best numbers ever. It's very terrible. I have my best numbers. If you read it, am I not ruling it out? I mean, you'll have to tell me. All I can tell you is that we have a great group of people, which they don't.
Some allies have taken those signals seriously, suggesting that they are exploring legal or political pathways to make it happen, a possibility dismissed by most constitutional scholars.
It's certainly possible. Look, I mean, if the President Trump thinks there's a path open to someone who's been elected twice to run for a third term, that does mean generally it would be open by whatever path he pursues to people like former President Obama, who has similarly been elected 2 terms, but could be eligible for a third. And that's maybe a political reason why it doesn't seem particularly likely. Obviously, President Trump is already the oldest person ever elected to the presidency. He would be that by 4 additional years in 2028. Former President Obama is much younger, has much higher general national approval rating, and has since he exited office. I think that'd be a real threat to the President Trump's party if that were a real possibility they were going to put on the table. I think that's probably a good political reason why a lot of people, even among Trump supporters, are less inclined to support this than it may seem on first blush.
US air travel turmoil deepened as more than 7,000 flights were delayed nationwide on Monday, with air traffic controller absences surging as the federal government shutdown reached its 27th day. The Federal Aviation Administration cited staffing shortages and imposed ground delay programs affecting Newark Airport in New Jersey, Austin Airport in Texas, and Dallas Fort Worth International Airport. Flights in the southeast were delayed earlier because of significant staffing shortages at the Atlanta Terminal Radar Approach Control. Roughly 13,000 air traffic controllers and 50,000 Transportation Security Administration officers must work without pay after a budget impasse between Republican President Donald Trump and congressional Democrats triggered the shutdown. The Trump administration has warned flight disruptions will increase as controllers miss their first full paycheck on Tuesday. Hundreds of Cameroonians took to the streets in protest on Monday after the world's oldest head of the state, Paul Biya, was proclaimed to have won an 8th term, extending his more than 4-decade rule. As per the official results released by the Constitutional Council, 92 years old Biya won re-election with 53.7% of the vote, while former government minister Aissata Kiroma Bakari finished second with 35.2%. The former minister rejected Biya's victory, and demonstrations by his supporters faced heavy response from security forces. Time to take a short break, but still to come on the other side. ECI launches second phase of special electoral rule revision across 12 states and UTs to ensure greater transparency and accuracy. President Draupadi Murmu to deliver first ever presidential keynote at 8th ISA Assembly, highlighting India's leadership in clean energy transition. And devotees offer Usha Ark as Chhat Puja concludes, marking gratitude, renewal, harmony with nature.
Eighth edition of International Solar Alliance. I have with me some of the dignitaries around the globe. How do you see on the 8th session of this organization going forward?
The only financing product that we have announced is a $200 million Africa solar facility, where the uniqueness of that is not a line of credit or anything. We are launching what Prime Minister Modi talked about, one sun, one world, one grid, for the first time.
I'm looking forward that for the establishment of a StarC in South Sudan is a collaboration to strengthen our skills.
Yes, we're going to get more interactive learning from the new platform, the new YouTube learning that they're going to set up.
Welcome back after that short break. You're watching DD India News Hour. While the 8th session of the International Solar Alliance Assembly aims to accelerate global adoption of solar energy and deepen international cooperation for a sustainable future. And at the heart of this gathering lies India's rapidly expanding role in renewable energy, marked by significant achievements and bold ambitions. Here's more.
New Delhi is abuzz as the 8th session of the International Solar Alliance Assembly commenced today at Bharat Mandapam, gathering high-level delegations from 124 countries and over 40 ministers for 4 days of discussions centered on deepening international cooperation and accelerating solar energy transitions. The Assembly, which is recognized as the ISA's supreme decision-making forum, is set to drive the global agenda for a clean, sustainable future through focused action on solar finance, technology, and capacity building. India's leadership is in sharp focus, with President Draupadi Murmu scheduled to deliver the first ever presidential keynote to the ISA Assembly, reinforcing India's commitment to the founding vision of one world, one sun, one grid, and showcasing the nation's recent achievements in solar power deployment. India's progress in achieving 50% of its installed capacity from non-fossil sources 5 years ahead of target and ranking as the world's third largest solar producer stands as an example for other developing countries. A landmark feature of this session is the unveiling of a multi-nation joint solar power bidding platform by ISA, designed to unite member countries in securing competitive solar cum storage projects and also harnessing cross-border opportunities at scale. Strategic discussions will address financing for undeserved regions, innovations in solar technology, and expanded use in sectors like agriculture and health, targeting sustainable development and energy security for all. ISA, which was launched in 2015 by India and France, now counts 125 member and signatory countries working across continents to mobilize investments, reduce solar technology costs, and promote harmonized standards and policies. With global momentum behind its mission, unlocking $1 trillion in solar investments by 2030, and transforming energy access for billions, this assembly sets a blueprint for coordinated international action in the race to achieve carbon neutrality and universal clean energy. Bureau Report, DD India.
Well, the phase 2 of special intensive revision of electoral rules will begin in 12 states and union territories across India from Tuesday. India's Chief Election Commissioner Gyanesh Kumar on Monday said that this revision is aimed to make electoral rolls more transparent and error-free. The CEC also highlighted that the poll body received 0 appeals in the first phase of SIR.
Andamans and Nicobar Island, Union Territory, State Chhattisgarh, Goa, Gujarat, Kerala, Union Territory Lakshadweep, Madhya Pradesh, Puducherry Union Territory, Rajasthan, Tamil Nadu, Uttar Pradesh, West Bengal. इन 12 राज्यों में कुल मतदाता 51 करोड़ के लगभग हैं. लगभग 5,33,000 बूथ लेवल ऑफिसर्स इस महान कार्य में अपना योगदान देंगे. लगभग 7,64,000 बूथ लेवल एजेंट्स जो पार्टीज द्वारा नामित हैं वो इसमें अपना योगदान देंगे और लगभग 10,500 EROs और लगभग 321 कलेक्टर्स. ये पूरी चुनावी कर्मियों की जो टीम है वो इस SIR की फेज 2 में कार्य करेगी और इसको सफल बनाएगी.
India's Member of the Parliament, P. Wilson, highlighted India's unwavering commitment to women, peace and security agenda, while delivering India's national statement at the Peace Building Commission's ambassadorial level meeting on WPS held at the UN headquarters in New York. And he stressed up on India's readiness to share expertise, training and technology with partners and friends, and particularly from the global south.
Today, Indian women peacekeepers serve with distinctions in the Democratic Republic of Congo, Abyei and South Sudan, helping build trust with communities, addressing gender-based violence and strengthening protection of civilians. Though through these deployments, India has demonstrated the profound positive contribution and impact that women bring to peacekeeping and peace building. They build trust in communities and give hope to the vulnerable populations, particularly women and children. Most critically, they help address gender-based violence and ensure that peace process reflects the needs and perspectives of all segments of society.
India forged closer maritime cooperation with the Netherlands, Saudi Arabia and Sri Lanka on the sidelines of the India Maritime Week 2025 on Monday. Now, strengthening maritime ties between India and Sri Lanka, a bilateral meeting was held between Ports Minister of both the sides. Discussions focused on enhancing maritime connectivity through the ongoing India-Sri Lanka ferry service and exploring the possibility of launching a new route between Rameshwaram and Talaimanar, further deepening regional cooperation and people-to-people connect. On the other hand, India and Saudi Arabia also talked about maritime cooperation, with the discussions focused on collaboration in green hydrogen, maritime investments and emerging opportunities in the blue economy. They also talked about strengthening the maritime partnership between the two nations for a sustainable and prosperous future. While India and the Netherlands signed an MOU on maritime collaboration, reinforcing the shared vision for innovation and sustainability in the sector. Additionally, a letter of intent was signed for the establishment of a green and digital sea corridor, promoting cleaner, smarter and future-ready maritime connectivity between the two nations. Moving on, the vibrant celebrations of Chhath Puja concluded today with Usha Arg, in which devotees offered water to the rising sun. This final day holds special significance for devotees who gather before sunrise to offer prayers to the rising sun and thank Chhati Maiya for prosperity, family, well-being and fulfillment of wishes. The ritual marks the completion of the 4-day observance that began with Nahai Khai, followed by Kharna, Sandhya Arg to end to the setting sun and ends with the morning Usha Arg. On this day, devotees stand waist deep in water, facing the horizon as the first rays of sunlight touch the sky. The act of offering Arg represents the devotees' connection to the nature and acknowledgement of sun's life-giving energy. Usha Arg represents the rising of new hope, end of hardship and gratitude of life. It strengthens the bond between humanity and nature, reminding the devotees that life cycles of darkness and light are continuous and interconnected. Chhath festivities were also observed in Bengaluru. People gathered in large numbers to offer prayers to the rising sun. Many families offered morning arg at their terrace. Prime Minister Narendra Modi extended best wishes to countrymen on the last day of Chhath Puja. In a tweet, he said, and I quote him here, "Today, the great festival of Chhath concludes today with the morning arg offered to Lord Sun God. During this 4-day ritual, we witnessed the divine glimpses of our grand tradition of Chhath Puja. Heartfelt congratulations to all our family members and fasting devotees who became part of the sacred festival. May the boundless grace of Chhati Maiya keep all your lives forever illuminated." Unquote. The President of the Republic of Uganda and the First Lady hosted a dinner for the Indian community at the State House on Sunday to celebrate Diwali. The State House dinner was attended by prominent members of the Indian community, officials from the High Commission of India, led by High Commissioner Upendra Singh Rawat. On the occasion, High Commissioner Rawat delivered remarks highlighting the strong ties between India and Uganda and significant contribution of the Indian community to Uganda's economy. Well, it was on this day, which is the 28th of October, back in the year 1867, when Margaret Elizabeth Noble was born in Ireland and became a disciple of Swami Vivekananda. She became Sister Nivedita and dedicated her life to the cause of India. The next report delves deep into the life of this great soul on her birth anniversary.
On October 28, 1867, Sister Margaret Noble was born in Ireland. Later, loving India through Swami Vivekananda's companionship, she came to India. From Margaret, she became Sister Nivedita. Sister Nivedita's contributions to several important aspects of India are undeniable, including propagation of Hindu religion, women's education, and the independence movement.
इस काल में प्रासंगिकता बहुत ही बढ़ गई है.
These days, the relevance of Sister Nivedita is more than before. As these days we value our personal happiness, peace and comforts, majority fail to understand the dividing line between our personal necessity and luxury. She, being a foreigner, had adjusted so much and given every drop of her blood for this country.
This year marks her 157th birth anniversary. In Kolkata's Bagbazar, Sister Nivedita's house still exists, keeping everything old intact. The Sarada Mott authorities have restored it. Swami Vivekananda had visited this house. He sat in the veranda inside the house. That veranda still remains. There, the era has been recreated for viewers through augmented reality.
तो 1897 में finally हम देखते हैं
In
कि
1897, we see Swamiji writing to her that you are the woman, a real lioness to work for the Indian people and especially Indian women. Swamiji saw in her the qualities that the women of India in those days lacked to carry his vision and mission forward. Swamiji himself lauded her qualities of sincerity, purity, and immense love and dedication for India.
Today, many devotees come to this house daily to see and touch history with their own eyes.
Time to take a short break, but still to come on the other side. Batter Shefali Verma replaces injured Pratika Rawal ahead of semi-final clash against Australia. Two-time Olympic medalist PV Sindhu pulls out of Badminton World Federation Tour events to focus on recovery from a foot injury. And the opening ceremony of 2026 Winter Olympics will be staged at Milan's famous San Siro Stadium. Welcome back after that short break. Let's now get you all the latest from the world of business. Well, Google has unveiled a plan on Monday to restart a nuclear facility in Iowa to power the company's artificial intelligence infrastructure in the latest collaboration between tech giants and electric industry players. Under an announcement with electric power company Next Era Energy, the Duane Arnold Energy Center that shuttered in 2020 would return to service in 2029 to help power Google's growing cloud and AI infrastructure. Google signed off on a 25-year agreement to purchase power from the facility once it restarted. Google has announced other initiatives as well to secure additional power capacity, including a venture with Elemental Power to develop 3 advanced nuclear power plants in the United States. Tech giants Meta and TikTok said on Tuesday that they would comply with Australia's new social media law barring the users under the age of 16 years old. Starting from the 10th of December, social media platforms such as Facebook, Instagram and TikTok will be required to remove the users aged under 16. Now, both TikTok and Meta, the parent company of Facebook and Instagram, said the ban would be hard to police but agreed that they would abide by it. On the other hand, TikTok warned the blunt age ban could have a raft of unintended consequences. The social media ban for users under 16 is one of the strictest across the world. Companies found to be flouting the laws would face a fine of up to $32 million. Australia's online safety watchdog has suggested that platforms such as WhatsApp, Twitch and Roblox could also fall under the ban scope, widening the potential impact of country's digital safety overhaul. Amazon is planning to cut as many as 30,000 corporate jobs beginning on Tuesday as the company works to pare expenses and compensate for overhiring during the peak demand of the pandemic according to the sources. Now, this would represent the largest job cut at Amazon since late 2022. Amazon CEO Andy Jassy is undertaking an initiative to reduce what he has described as an excess of bureaucracy at the company, including by reducing the number of managers. The figure represents a small percentage of Amazon's 1.55 million total employees, but nearly 10% of the company's roughly 350,000 are corporate employees. Coming on to markets now, they witnessed mixed emotions worldwide as traders kept an eye on Trump's Japan visit and his high-stakes talk with China's Xi Jinping later this week. The US president is due to meet Xi on Thursday in South Korea, during which a deal easing their trade war is expected. Wall Street's main indices posted record highs, with investors also looking forward to a week packed with high-profile technology earnings and a widely expected US interest rate cut. S&P 500 gained 1.23%, while Nasdaq Composite gained 1.86%. Dow Jones Industrial Average rose 0.71%. Talking about Asia market, Japan's Nikkei pared back gains after surging above 50,000 points for the first time the previous day. Shares in Hong Kong and Sydney also recorded gentle drops, while Seoul fell by more than 1%. Taipei stocks were up slightly, while Shanghai was flat. You're watching Daily India News Hour, and now it's time to get you all the latest from the world of sports, to begin with women's cricket. Indian batter Shafali Verma was drafted into India's squad as a replacement for Pratika Rawal ahead of Women's World Cup semi-final clash against Australia at Navi Mumbai, scheduled to take place on Thursday. The event's technical committee of the ICC Women's Cricket World Cup approved Shafali Verma as a replacement for Pratika Rawal. Rawal was ruled out after sustaining an injury to her right ankle while fielding in the league match against Bangladesh on Sunday. On the other hand, Shafali Verma has been in excellent form for Haryana in Senior Women's T20 Trophy, amassing 341 runs in 9 matches. In badminton, two-time Olympic medalist and global badminton icon PV Sindhu has announced her withdrawal from all remaining Badminton World Federation Tour events in 2025 to focus on full recovery from a foot injury. The decision was taken after detailed consultations with her support staff, following a comprehensive assessment of her recovery process. PV Sindhu sustained a foot injury ahead of the European leg of the season, which, despite significant improvement, continues to require careful management to ensure long-term fitness. PV Sindhu revealed in a statement that prioritizing complete recovery over short-term competition is the best way forward. She also already begun a structured rehabilitation and training program under close supervision. In tennis, Vivek Reddy, who is the treasurer of the Tamil Nadu Tennis Association, spoke to DD India and expressed that hosting WTA 250 Chennai Open during the centenary year of the association is a great honour for Tamil Nadu and everyone involved. He credited the hard work and leadership of President Vijay Amritraj as instrumental to the event's successful organisation, highlighting Tamil Nadu's rich and long-standing history with tennis over the past 100 years. Take a listen.
Chennai is hosting WTA Chennai Open, and we have TNTA President Vivek Reddy ji with us. To let's get to know, sir, how does it feel to host Chennai Open when in your centenary year?
Okay, I'm the TNTA treasurer. Vijay Amritraj, who's the president, has worked very hard to get this international event into Chennai. It feels super exciting for us at TNTA. And for the city also is such an amazing event. So it feels wonderful to be able to host such a thing and to see all these amazing international athletes come and, practice here and train here and play the matches here. Amazing quality of tennis. It truly is super exciting for an event of this stature to come to Madras. And centenary year, yes, that's an amazing. Tamil Nadu has had a rich legacy of amazing tennis players, very high quality, and it is befitting that such a high quality tournament comes to Tamil Nadu. So we're very satisfying.
Talking about centenary celebration, sir, what TNTA has done before and what TNTA is planning for upcoming years?
Yeah, TNTA has always supported players, but in the future we have very high plans of actively supporting players. We've identified, we have a next level program, we've identified 11 promising youngsters from Tamil Nadu. Maybe the next step is even identifying promising youngsters from all over India, and TNTA is supporting. So these are plans. So really want to support them in many ways: travel, coaching, training, very, very active support financially and guidance wise. So very concrete plans we have to produce champions from Tamil Nadu.
Weather department has already forecast that the weather won't be good until 5th of November, and today and tomorrow cyclone is expected. So in that case, how challenging it is to host the event?
Absolutely. I think when the energies are good, the intent is good, the rain, the gods will favor us. I'm very confident that regardless of the rain, the tournament will go off very well. And on Sunday, November 2nd, you will see a fantastic final and a fantastic ending of the tournament. And everybody is going to say that it was an unbelievable event. Players, government, spectators, everybody will say that. I'm very confident that the tournament will go off very well.
As Vivek Reddy said, who is the treasurer of TNTA, who is saying that he's very much confident and he is ready to face all these challenges, overcome this, and to host the tournament perfectly fine. With the camera person Surya, Ritesh Ranjan, DD India.
And the opening ceremony of the 2026 Winter Olympics will be staged at Milan's famous San Siro Stadium and feature other venues across northern Italy. Milan is co-hosting the Games with the town of Cortina d'Ampezzo next year. For the first time in Winter Olympics history, the opening ceremony will be held in 2 locations. At its heart will be a striking spiral-shaped LED stage, transforming the pitch into a dynamic hub. 4 ramps will radiate from the central structure in a layout designed to evoke connection and flow. The ceremony will retrace the history and spirit of Italy and celebrate its prominent figures. And that's all for this edition of DD India News Hour. But do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download it right now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Deepika, and from all of us here in New Delhi, thank you so much for watching DD India News Hour. Namaskar.